Hello, my name is Ndubisi Chinwendu. Um, Today I'm going to treat on another topic in software testing. We are still on chapter 1. Last time we treated on fundamental testing, just treat on about which has to do with the introduction of software testing and the objective of software testing. Before I proceed, today's topic I'm going to treat on is static testing and dynamic testing. Then the difference between static testing and dynamic testing. That is what we are going to treat today. But before I proceed, I would like to reverse what we did last time. Software testing is the process of exercising a software to verify if it does what is expected to do and to check if there is defects on the software. So those are the work of a software tester. In every organization that deals on production like laptop, phones and all that, is very under must that they need a software tester. Even a software tester can be self-employed, it can be on your own. Yes, you can be on your own. You can also work for any organization. That is your choice if you like. So it's a very, very good course. Last time I cheated on the introduction of software testing and the objective of software testing, which has to do with to find defects, to prevent defects, to assess the quality of the software, to inform stakeholders, to reduce level of risks in the software. Yes. So all this to evaluate the work product of the software, to verify requirements, fulfillment. All these are the objective of software testing. But today we are going to treat on statistics testing. Just this statistics testing and difference between static testing and dynamic testing. Then the difference between static testing and dynamic testing, and also the examples of static testing and dynamic testing. So what is static testing? Static testing is type of testing in which the code is not executed. In this kind of test, you don't need any kind of execution of the code. It can be done manually. So this kind of testing, you do not need any kind of execution of the code. This type of testing checks the code, requirement document and design document, and puts review comments on the work document. So this is the work of static testing. So with static testing, we try to find out the errors code flows and potentially malicious code in the software application. It starts earlier in development life cycle, and hence it is called verification testing. Yes, statistics testing starts early in the development life cycle, which means that immediately every software begins in development. Immediately a developer starts coding, software testing starts immediately, and it can be done manually. In statistics testing is being done manually, while dynamics testing is not being done manually. You can do that one automatic with automation testing. High testing can be done on work document like requirements, specification, design document, source code, test plan, test script, and test cases. It can also be called verification testing, while dynamic testing is called validation testing. And that's going to be our next topic. Yes, next time I come online, that's what we are going to treat on. Verification testing and validation testing. the definitions, the difference between each of them, how they work. That's our next topic. So now we are going to treat on the examples of static testing. The examples of static testing are known as inspection. Here, the main purpose is to find defects. Yes, that is the main purpose of static testing, is to find defects. Code walkthroughs are conducted by moderator. It is a formal type of review where a checklist is prepared to review the work documents. Then the second example of static testing is walkthrough. We've mentioned inspection, now we've mentioned the walkthrough. In this type of techniques, a meeting is led by author to explain the product. Participants can ask questions and a scribe is assigned to make notes. Yes, these are the works of scribes and walkthrough. Then the next one is technical reviews. That is a sample of static testing. Technical reviews. In this type of static testing, a technical round of review is conducted to check if the code is made according to technical specifications and standards. Generally, the test plans, test strategy, and test scripts are reviewed here. Then another example of static testing is informal reviews. Static testing technique in which the document is reviewed formally and informally. Comments are provided. Those are the examples of static testing: walkthrough, inspection, author, informal reviews. Informal reviews, the documents that were being created by the authors and by the testers. Here they review it so that everyone will talk about it, so that every issue of defect that are being found can be fixed. Then we're heading to the next topic, which is known as dynamic testing. Dynamic testing is the opposite of static testing. It's done with the execution of the code. That is dynamic testing. It's also known as validation. You can in this testing, you can do it with the execution of the code. You can also do it automatically, while the other one is being done manually. When the code being executed is put with a value, the result or the output of the code is checked and compared with the expected output. With this, we can observe the functional behavior of the software, monitor the system memory, which is known as the CPU, response time, performance of the system. Dynamic testing is also known as validation testing. Yes, I said it earlier, it's also known as validation testing, evaluating the finished product. And dynamic testing is of two types, which is known as functional testing and non-functional testing. All these are the topic that we are going to treat: functional testing and non-functional testing, what they are all about. Validation and verification. Verification has a question which is known as, are the product being produced right? Validation is known as, are we producing the right product? So this one is the next topic that we are going to treat when next I come. Verification and validation. It says static testing can also be called verification, while dynamic testing is known as validation. And the work of static testing is to find defects. Yes. So now we're going to treat on the different types of dynamic testing. I treated static testing, examples of static testing, which are known as inspection, walkthrough, informal review, and formal reviews. Then now these are the examples of dynamic testing, which are known as unit testing. Unit testing has to do with different particles, just like, for example, a car. When a car is being built, or let me use a laptop. When a laptop is being built, developed by a developer, it has different particles. It has pieces by pieces. Before a developer starts coding or start building the software, the tester start immediately start conducting tests on these different models before it's being built. Because if testing is not being done after building the software, at the end the software might fail. And when the software fail, there will be a kind of time wastage, loss of company reputation. If the software is not being tested and is being pushed in the market, it can spoil company's reputation. Yes. When you buy something that is not working, you cannot go back to that place, or you cannot assign that place to somebody to go and waste his or her money. It can even cause death. Yes, example, Ethiopian airline that crash. Those are the examples of examples of software problems of software, lack of software testing. Yes. So that is all about unit testing. Then integration testing. Integration testing is known as the building process. Yes, it's known as building process of a software, building process of a car, building process of a laptop, of a phone. After testing the different models, then the developer starts the building of the software. That is what they called integration. Testing the interface between different models, then they are joined. After you test them, you start joining them one after the other. That is what we called integration testing. Then system testing has to do with after the building process, then we need to test run to see if the software is working perfectly. If it's working perfectly, if it's doing what it's supposed to do, that is what we call system testing. Testing performed on the system as a whole. Then the last one, which is known as acceptance testing. Acceptance testing has to do with the users. Is the software okay? Does it satisfy the users? Did it do what is expected to do? Did they like the performance of the software that they bought? Was the software doing what is expected to do? Acceptance testing. Is it acceptable to the end users? Testing done from user point of view at user's end. That is all about examples of dynamic testing. Now we are going to treat the difference between static testing and dynamic testing. Static testing is a white box testing which is done at early stage if development life cycle. It is more effective than dynamic testing. While in dynamic testing, on the other hand, is done at the later stage of development life cycle. This one is done early stage and this one is done later stage. So static testing is very, very important in development life cycle, because when you want to build any kind of software, testing has to begin at early stage. Anything that is being tested later stage is going to give problems for fixing any problem that is being found. So the second one of difference between static testing and dynamic testing. Static testing has more statement coverage than dynamic testing in shorter time. Dynamic testing has less statement stage because it is covers limited area of code. Then 3, static testing, it is done before code deployment, while in dynamic testing it is done after code deployment. Then the fourth one, static testing is performed in verification stage, just like as I said earlier, while dynamic testing is performed in validation stage. Then 5th, static testing is done without the execution of the code. I said it earlier, while dynamic testing is done with the execution of the code. Static testing gives assessment of code as well as documentation. Dynamic testing gives bottlenecks of the software system. Static testing techniques, a checklist is prepared for testing process. In dynamic testing techniques, the test cases are executed. Static testing method include walkthrough, code review, Dynamic testing involves functional and non-functional testing. So I'm going to end here today. When next we meet, I'm going to treat on verification, validation, definition of verification and validation. Verification has a question which has to do with, are we producing the right? Are we producing the product right? Yes, that's to do with a question which is asked, are we producing the product right? Why validation has to do with, are we producing the product? Are we producing the right product? So, but next week when we meet, we're going to treat on verification and validation, what they are all about. I'm going to end my teaching today. Please join me when next we meet again, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Press that red button if you like my teaching. Press it. Thank you so much. I appreciate for your time. Bye.